If a man lets you go, let him. Let him miss out on all the wonderful things that you have to offer, because it's not your job to convince him that you are worthy of his love. It's your job to recognize that you have all of these wonderful gifts and strengths to bring to the relationship. And yes, it might break your heart because you have your heart set on him being the one. And sometimes you need to let go of who you've attached to in order to make room for the man who's going to love you for who you are. Because you are amazing and you deserve a great man.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
I said no!
In today's sexual marketplace, men and women are engaged in a kind of Mexican standoff in which neither one wants to put their gun down first. Women today look at men and they're just kind of disappointed. They think there are no good men anymore. And the men who do engage with them, they just seem to want sex without commitment. From their perspective, this would mean settling for a lot less than they think they're worth. Since they believe that dealing with such men would be at a perceived loss, they would rather just remain single and wait until they meet a man who will give them more of what they want. By the same token, men today look at women and they're just sort of bewildered. They think there are no good women anymore, and the women who do engage with them just seem to want the moon. They're demanding and entitled and delusional. They seem to want so much and offer so little in return. From their perspective, this would mean paying a lot more than they think they should. Since they believe that dealing with such women would be a perceived loss, they would rather just remain single and wait until they meet a woman who will give them more of what they want.
Crazy Ernie's used car emporium.
The younger generation, I'm sorry, the younger generation, they don't know how to socialize. They don't. I have these young girls who, like, we're friendly with. Beautiful, smart. They went out one night. They told me where they went. They went here for dinner. They went there for drinks. Not one guy came over to them. Not one. Anywhere. How is that possible? That would never happen when I was growing up.
The women out there, they're sending a clear PSA, which is, you know what, instead of them vying for your gaze, the single women, they're focusing on themselves. They are tired of the apps. They're tired of the casual hookups. They are tired of the dating scene. I heard one woman say the dating pool is contaminated. It's got poop in it.
I don't think she heard what was just said. I just have a hunch. Call me an oracle. Anyway, men, the world is dealing with a population crisis. Before it was front page news, I worked with a couple of people in government positions, which was hell, and let's just say everyone knew it was a problem that many already knew was coming. I mean, anyone could have looked at the top-down ratio with Westerners and predicted 20 plus years ago that we'd be carrying more than half of the retired population. While there are a lot of reasons for this, industrialization, urbanization, wealth hoarding, the biggest contributor is more and more people just aren't dating. And when they don't date, they don't have a domestic union. And without that, no kids. Simple man math right there. In typical government or feminist fashion, often one and the same, everyone has been pointing at the problem, but nobody can come to a solution. And the thing is, we know the solution, it's just that most are too cowardly, too caught up in the denial Olympics to point it out.
This is what my friends who are married don't understand. First off, it is so difficult to have been single throughout the entire pandemic and go through that profound trauma all alone without some kind of support system. And I also think it's difficult that you're no one's priority. Like, there aren't really people checking up on me in the same way as if you have someone to come home to. I don't have a partner. I've been single for at least almost 4 years, since November of 2019, however long that is. And it's just so difficult because you realize that you have to be your own knight in shining armor, that there's no one coming to save you, that there's no one really is there for you. Like, you're alone at the end of the day.
Anyway.
I don't understand why men go after like females for their body count. Like you don't see us females going after your body count. Tell me your body count. Tell me your body count. I think it's the same shit. We're both human beings. It's still nasty.
She's severely uneducated.
I tell people there's no such thing as an emotionally stable woman. It's physically impossible. I started mapping out women's hormones and realized that women are cyclic monthly, but their estrogens and other hormones change 4 times a month. So I realized women change 4 times in the month. And let me give you a simple analogy on this. Women, there's sometimes you get up in the morning, you put your bra on, it's all nice and full. Next following week, you put your bra on, it's a bunch of shriveled raisins. It's like, where'd they go? No, you get my point?
I feel attacked.
See, no, but see what I'm saying? That's
Yes.
And the women go, oh my goodness, you're right. See, because your body changes every week differently. Now imagine this though, but here's one thing. And I was literally talking to a woman over in Europe today, and all of a sudden I said this, I said, listen, but now estrogens change 4 times a month. So guess what happens? Ladies, that means mentally you change 4 times in the month. And she goes, oh my goodness. She goes, I'm a CEO of this company, but there's some days of the month that I shouldn't make any decisions. That's right, because 4 times in the month, you are dramatically different. And that's okay. So men are gonna deal with things and look at the world very differently than women because women's changes. Then what it did for women is this, is it started to realize that as they go up and down, their emotions are not supposed to be stable.
And the West gave them the wheel, the demographic that changes personalities like grandma changes the channel. Great job, guys. I don't need to spell it out for most of you, but I see it's necessary for newcomers and those who randomly find this video. It's women. Feminism, to be specific. It's feminism that wrecked the market and fueled government outreach, and it's the same cult that is solely responsible for the population crisis. And how do we know this? Well, let's take a little trip to where 4B started. It won't be hard to make the connection. With Bora Chung's South Korea's Obstacles to Parenthood. At a time when birth rates around the world are falling, South Korea stands apart. The country has experienced some of the steepest declines in fertility rates over the past 60 years, and the main reason behind this trend is very clear. There are not enough adult women who are of childbearing age.
Your fault. Your fault. Your fault. Your fault.
Beginning with Park Chung-hee's regime in the 1960s, decades of anti-natalist policies helped normalize married couples having 2 or 3 children, as opposed to 6 or more in previous generations. And during the 1980s, when the birth rate first fell below the replacement rate, the selective elimination procedures of potential offspring became common because of a preference for sons, further reducing the number of women in the population. However, an imbalanced ratio does not fully explain why South Korea's fertility rate keeps falling so drastically, especially for married couples.
So far, so good.
For the past 20 years, the government has treated this phenomenon as a national emergency and has spent billions of pro-natalist policies. And while there are still families having children, South Korea still sets records for the world's lowest fertility rate. President Yoon Suk-yeol has frequently blamed feminism for South Korea's family planning failures. He does not believe structural gender discrimination exists and has even pledged to abolish the Ministry of Gender Equality and Family. But such rhetoric completely ignores the fact that female workers on average make 1/3 less than their male counterparts, or that employers prefer to fire pregnant employees rather than providing paid maternity leave. Instead, it reinforces a growing hostility towards women, as evidenced by the notable rise in digital crimes and other forms of gender-based offenses in recent years.
Oh, come on.
It is not feminism, but rather harmful gender stereotypes that have led many women to postpone or refuse marriage. This is significant in a heterocentric country with hardly any non-marital births. But more healthy relationships will not fix the birth rate if families are having fewer children overall. Ah, yes, healthy relationships won't help the population crisis. Of course, why didn't we think of that? Alright guys, looks like we can pack our bags and head home to the Blue Hairs. Miss Chung, you're lost, and you fumbled so hard at the 50-yard line that I bet you're still picking AstroTurf out of your teeth. Look, I'm not going to say that the South Korean president is perfect. There's a lot of weird stuff going on over there that no amount of research can clear up. But the idea that feminist bureaucracy and adherence to fleeting trends don't harm families and dig a deeper hole, well, that's just straight stupid. Female incompetence in the West, and apparently the East to some extent, is at an all-time high. You only need 3 clicks to figure that out for yourself.
Yeah, put the fire out. Say hi. Say hi.
Fire is very dangerous. It's going to set my pet.
Let's see.
Yo, watch her spray me, watch her spray me. Chyba się spali. Kurwa, czego szukać? Ale macie męskie takie. Stary, to jest grubszy. Których śrubków? Wyłącz, żeby wszystko się nie... Wyłącz. Ważne jest, kurwa. Babo jest przejebane.
Don't say nothing.
No, it's not very... It's not... Yeah, call the fire department. Nie wkurzaj, nie, zostaw. Ale wyłącz to.
Spray with pepper spray.
Did you cook it?
No.
Did you have anything to do with this?
Yeah. I paid for it.
Well, sucking dick? Is that like what you're still doing?
God, you can't say that.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't want any...
I'm an adult. I can do what I want.
It's disgusting. I want no part of it. And if you had any...
You don't have to have a part in it.
There's a reason your mother isn't even here. And you're lucky that I even showed up tonight.
Oh my God. You had to ruin everything.
Even with fathers, the West has become so contaminated that the nuclear family struggles. Bora Chung, ma'am, the US and UK in particular have been primary experimental grounds for the feminist experiment. They've pushed the exact policies you're insinuating is a cure-all, and guess what happened? The population in these regions is dropping just as fast. And look, this isn't to say that there aren't policies that muddy the waters here, but the idea that women with lonely fans, high body counts, and a loss of values aren't contributing to the problem is a major miss in this argument you insist on forming. Speaking of...
Jeez, kill me already.
One-dimensional narratives about gender wars and fertility rates obscure just how fundamentally broken South Korean society is for all potential parents, especially those who earn lower incomes or who live outside metropolitan areas like Seoul. Most important, they also negate the existence of the women who do want children.
Incoming wounded! Incoming wounded!
Whenever I see all the news and debates about the record low birth rate in South Korea, I cannot help but think about ordinary people like my friend Lee Ji-young, whose dream is simply to become a working mom. Lee used to work at Korea Optical High-Tech, a manufacturing company in Gumi, South Korea. 1 month after catching fire in October 2022, the company, despite receiving 130 billion won, about $93 million in insurance money, texted its employees that it would be closing permanently. Its mother company, Nitto Denko in Japan, then transferred all production to its Pyeongtaek site, and none of the Gumi employees were allowed to relocate. Instead, nearly 200 of those workers agreed to resign voluntarily and accepted a severance package. About a dozen refused.
Get on with it!
Of the employees who refused to resign, 7 continued to protest at the burned factory. Significantly, 5 of them are women. 2 of Lee's colleagues have been staging a sit-in on the factory's roof since January 8, 2024, when the company received a demolition permit for the building. Their names are Park Jung-hye and So Hyun-suk, and they are fighting for their rights, their livelihood, and their dignity. Lee, who oversees the protests' daily operations on the ground, told me she only had good memories of the time when she first started at the company, which was where she met her husband. After she voluntarily resigned in 2019, her husband continued to work there, and both were thrilled when she was asked to return to her old job in April 2022. They even began planning for a family, believing they had finally achieved financial stability.
It's nice, but
Although her situation might be unique, Lee's barriers to parenthood are not. She, like many other young South Koreans, understands that children need stability. But to provide that stability long term, she and other aspiring mothers require the government to use formal policies to resolve systemic instabilities that deny them basic reproductive rights. Korean women have always been resilient, but they alone cannot overcome South Korea's extreme culture of misogyny and lack of economic redistribution and security. Essentially, our society is unsustainable for working women, let alone working mothers. Oh, you said it at the end here, and you missed it, Bora. Let me highlight that for you. See right here? Working mothers. This may come as a shock to everyone in the New York Times, so hold on to your hats or skirts, whatever. Women shouldn't be present in the workforce. People, aside from occasional stewardesses, nurses, or war widows, having women work in society realigns their perceived set of priorities. There's a reason that, for literally thousands of years, men went out to acquire resources and women stayed home, because women need to be fully involved, full-time, in familial obligations. When that is the sole priority, well, look at that. They focus on building and maintaining family structures while the man is bringing home the bacon. We know what happens when that integral part is removed.
This man is about to debate college students on a very simple question. What is a woman?
So you said that person is more of a woman than you are. Therefore, you're grading off a definition of something accomplishes womanhood. What is that?
I think it's, well, that's the thing too. And I do think that gets a little complicated, right? Because there are social norms for a gender, but I do think we try to break that, right?
No, for sure. But you said that specific friend is more of a woman than you are. Why?
I think she's a better person than me. I think she
so
lives
women are
life.
Better people?
She's a better woman than I am. I'm not saying women are better people.
But what makes a woman? Because you said she's more of a woman than you are. Know what that definition is.
Right, okay. I'm gonna let somebody else go.
That's all good.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Parker, what is a woman?
A woman is an adult human person that has a desire to be in accordance with a particular set of social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the female sex.
Percent of women say they want a man to make the first move. A different study said that 50% of men say that they're afraid of making the first move for being seen as creepy. Another study said that 20% of Gen Zers say that a man approaching a woman sometimes or always constitutes harassment. So you have a world in which women are scared of being approached, men are scared of doing the approaching, people will judge many men, at least 1 in 5 men that do that, as being harassers, but everybody understands that if the guys don't make the first move, nothing's going to happen.
And because of this, we have total gridlock. And the stagnation award goes to, well, I think we get the picture.
Another round.
South Korean women generally lack basic structural support throughout their entire lives. Having a child could mean sacrificing hard-fought careers and becoming financially dependent on husbands, assuming they are employed. And aside from forcing single-income households to deal with the high costs of childcare, this effectively limits women's career options to homemaking, for which they receive no wages or pensions.
You don't need one.
South Korea's outdated welfare system is also heavily reliant on a traditional family structure, leaving little support for single elderly women who have spent most of their adult lives at home. This can be financially devastating for families without a patriarch. In fact, there have been several cases involving female-only households where elderly mothers and their adult daughters unable to secure jobs with livable wages.
You don't need one. You don't need anything.
Somebody should listen to the outcries of Korean women. So far, we only have one other. In the meantime, I try to visit the gumi factory as often as I can to say hello to the 2 women on the roof. I admire them, but at the same time, I yearn for a world where people like Park, So, and Lee no longer need to be heroes. There's a good chance that I, myself, will end up being a poor, single woman in the future, and with South Korean government policies demanding that I become a burden to my children, it is quite fortunate that I don't have any. At a women's rights protest, I once heard a young woman say, "The deepest form of love I can show to my non-existent children is not giving birth to them." I most strongly agree with her. This is a sad story, Bora. I get that. I really do. But it's anecdotal, and your opinions shine through when you use the words traditional and outdated in the same sentence. The drop in population, whether you noticed it or not, was actually explained perfectly here. Without the colorful storyline, by abandoning traditional values and opening your country up to feminist governance, you shot yourself in the foot. And that's why the West is shifting. You lost, and people, whether they openly admit to it or not, know why.
Anybody trying to date me, my bills are your bills. I don't care whose car it is. You're trying to date me. You're trying to take a load off of me. So my car is your car for the bills. I don't simple. You're trying to date me, so my bills are your bills. Period.
I'm an alpha female.
Okay, how long have you been married?
I'm single. I never said I was married. I'm single.
I didn't expect you to be. I just wanted to make a point.
And what's your point, sir?
That alpha females tend to never marry.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a decision that I made. I don't want to be married, and I'm fine with that.
Of course, it's always a decision. But is a decision you made from having plenty of suitable, high-value males around, or what?
Is a decision that I've made based on not wanting to be. I don't want the responsibility of being someone's wife.
No. I don't care if you turn down the trash man's proposal. I'm asking you, do you turn down proposals of suitable, high-value men?
Yes, I have.
Okay, go ahead.
So my point is that yes, I'm an alpha female. I'm not interested in being in a relationship or being married, and there's nothing wrong with being an alpha female.
Nobody said it was.
Okay.
My platform is linear.
Yes, it is. It's very much so.
So, football is linear. Have you not done the same thing in your career, presuming you've been successful?
Yes, I own my own business and I've been very successful.
And the consistency and the linear nature that success brings has served you well, right?
Yes, it has. Amen.
Then why would you ask me to do something different?
Because I feel because of what your message consists of.
Don't start beatboxing. Don't start beatboxing. My message consists of what? I don't care. Become the best version of yourself and then choose from the options you have available. You're about to say it was something else.
No, I didn't.
The answer is always hiding in the rants. It's never hard to find it. The loss, ladies, is your doing. And men alone are the ones that can fix it. All right, so if you made it to the end of this video, I just want to say I appreciate you. So don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment to have a chance to win, and hit that sub button for daily videos. And if you could take a quick sec to subscribe to the second channel, Man Guide Reacts, link is down below in the description so we can be sure our message will keep on reaching the new men out there. I appreciate all the support, y'all, and I want to wish you all tremendous success.